team. We're a team out here. Why we come here today is America still today celebrates a mass murderer, genocide, a rapist. You know, the list could go on. Slavery started with this fella. I don't even call him a fella. I call him a piece of shit. He's not worthy to be called a fellow or a man. Take it down. Yes, take it down. Thank you. But what we need to people to realize is nobody wants to walk around every day and have to be reminded of something. I don't like being reminded of things that happened to my ancestors. Neither does anybody else. It just doesn't make sense. You know, all these other statues, they all need to come down. Anything that oppresses people of color needs to go. The police were actually brought back in the day because they were here to keep blacks and natives under control. So that, to me, that is still what the police are doing to this day. It wasn't until 1924, not even 100 years ago, that the United States recognized Native Americans as citizens. As even humans. We were here first, but it took less than 100 years ago for us to get any recognition. Okay. It wasn't until 2001, the state of Virginia recognized the 7 tribes in Virginia as even Indians. So now we're talking 19 years ago. My dad grew up in a time where it was only 2 colors. Either you were colored or you were white. My dad's full-blood Native American. He was registered as a colored child growing up. All of his sisters, his brothers, everybody, they fought every day for who they were. And I'm going to pick up where they left off. And I'm glad everybody is here. This isn't just about us. This isn't just about me, my family, my people. This is just about justice for everybody. You know, the government doesn't want a unity of races. A unity of races becomes very troubling to them. We become dangerous because we have the numbers. They don't. They have colonized and made everybody think you need them to survive. But Native Americans taught them how to survive. We know how to do this. We taught them how to survive. They brought the diseases over here that killed us off, sent kids to boarding school, tried to breed them out, told them it was against the law to speak their language or practice their culture. No more, it stops. We do what we want. It stops. And I'm glad y'all are here. And I will fight this till the day I die. My child will not growing up living with anything any of you people have ever had to deal with standing here. And if I go away from here and that's all she knows is that I made a difference, I'm okay with that. I really appreciate y'all coming. Feel free to talk to me. I'm one of the most civil people you'll ever meet. We got some other folks here for some other things that would like to speak. And once again, I really appreciate y'all. And y'all stay safe, stay vigilant, because you know what we're up against. You know they're intermingled in the crowd with us right now. Yep. Be very wise of who you share information with and who you talk to. There's a bunch of snakes and wolves come in different colors. So just remember that. Be safe out here. Know what we're up against and know that we're all targets. But that's okay, because we're here for the right reason.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. We know why we're here. We're standing here today as Indigenous people to support you and to lift your voice. But we're here to remind you where it all began, that our people have died for over 500 years fighting colonization. Columbus did not discover this continent. He never stepped foot on it. For this so-called United States to celebrate this man who was a mass murderer is a farce. We need to deny that lie. We need to change the history books, and this statue needs to come down.
It's coming down.
Yes.
It's coming down.
Yes. So I want to talk to people because while we are all in the streets, it's state-sponsored violence, which we have been fighting for over 500 years. We have seen it. We're here because of George Floyd and all the people who came before him. Let's say his name. George Floyd!
George Floyd! Let's do it again!
George Floyd!
One more time!
George Floyd!
One more time!
George Floyd! But what I want you to know is in 2006, the same cop, the same piece of shit pig that killed him also killed one of our Indigenous brothers.
Right.
His name was Wayne Rice. He was killed, so this cop has a history of killing black and brown bodies. We are here, and we would love to hear you say his name one time. Wayne Rice!
One more time!
Wayne Rice!
One more time!
Wayne Rice! We are not here to hijack your moment. We are here to stand in solidarity. We know that one day we understand and we honor the parallels and the differences between our struggles as black and brown people. As Indigenous people, as the original inhabitants of this earth, we know that this continent is built on the blood and the bones of our ancestors, but it is built off the backs and the sweat and the tears and the blood and the bones of Africans. We honor that and we see you. We stand in solidarity with you. We understand the struggle, but we don't understand it all and never will. But we're going to stand with you because one day, we're going to have that voice. It's going to be our turn beyond Standing Rock. And we want you, every one of you, to be there to stand with us so that we can get off the bottom of the rung, so that we can get out of the reservations, so that our people can rise and have a voice in this goddamn country that belongs to my people. And I absolutely ask you, as we move forward with this movement, that you give black community the front seat. You put them at the table at all the chairs. We are here to support you and hold you up. But while you are at that table, remember, we've never even had a seat except in the back corner on the reservation.
Don't forget!
We are still here. We still matter. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from our black and Indigenous relatives because that struggle is real. You don't belong in the black community. You don't belong in the Indian community. You're out here and you're fighting this struggle because, trust me, racism rides in all races across the board. You too black, you too white, you don't do this. There are struggles that happen for our African Indigenous community that we don't know about, that you don't understand. They try to honor both sides of who they are because in our culture, our ancestors are the everything. Everything we do it because they survived so we could be here. And everything we do today is to protect our next 7 generations so that they can one day walk down the street with a pack of Skittles and not get shot. They can play cowboys and Indians outside and not get shot. That they can go to a school and not be torn down, knocked down, and not given equal opportunity. So right now we want to turn over the microphone to one of our sisters who is a member of...
Hello, I'm kind of nervous. My name is Anna. I just moved here.
Hi, Anna.
Hello. Before I start, I want to take a moment to acknowledge whose land we're on. This is Powhatan land. We are on occupied land. This is not our land. So yes, I'm a black Indigenous person. I identify as Afro-Indigenous. I have both Native American and African roots. Who knows what blood quantums are? Exactly. Blood quantums were created by our government to divide people. It was actually a way that their government actually wanted to breed out Native Americans. They knew that if people held to blood quantums, or if they forced blood quantums upon Native Americans, that we could no longer be tribal members if we were less than a certain percentage of blood. Well, I stand here and I'm saying that that's bullshit. It doesn't matter how little you are. It doesn't matter what your blood quantum is. It doesn't exist. You know who your ancestors are. I know who my ancestors are, and that's all that matters, and I honor them today. And you honor your ancestors by being here today. So thank you so much for being here.
I also want to see if there is someone in the group here that is here for Abby. Imaginary borders created by the colonizer, created by men who were so greedy that they had to divide up an entire continent. Those borders mean nothing to our people as indigenous people. Those are fake. We have traveled up from as farther south to the farthest north for thousands of years before the colonizers arrived. They're fake. We had trade system. We are not merciless savages as we were called up until 1927. We were finally recognized as human beings. But we have a sister who is indigenous, who is over here in sanctuary in this church. Her name's Abby. I suggest you take a look at that, find out about that, and support her. She has been in that church over a year. How would you feel? She's in her own private hell of not being able to go out and sit in the grass, smell the fresh air, get some sunshine. She is stuck in her own hell because of an oppressive government. So we just want to honor Abby at this time. And please pay attention to that. Show some love to Ice Out. We need that. Yeah. And we would like to turn some time over and hear from our Black community that's been out here. We've been out here in the streets. You just ain't seen us supporting you because we love you. And we want to turn some time over and hear from Chelsea and some of you folks. If you've got something to say, we're ready to listen.
My name is Chelsea Higgs-Wise, and I'm one of the hosts and run a platform called Race Capital, where we interrogate racial narratives in the former, maybe the current capital of the Confederacy. And this moment is really important to us. When the Indigenous community said they were organizing and wanted support, we said absolutely. And that is not because we knew it was the right thing to do. It's because we were already in community together. We've already been organizing together. They've already been showing up for us. We've been showing up for them. We were not strangers before this moment. And that's the important part of these uprisings, of these rebellions, is that you get to know the people that are showing up beside you. You get to know the messages that they're saying. And while we are saying names today, let's go ahead and lift another name right here from this place and space of this land. Marcus David Peters.
Marcus David Peters!
Say his name. Marcus David Peters.
Marcus David Peters!
Marcus David Peters was shot by a Richmond police officer on May 14th while he needed help, not death. So we're not just going up for George Floyd. We're not just going up for Breonna Taylor. We're going up for Marcus David Peters. Who?
Marcus David Peters!
I'm here because I believe in the idea of no justice, no peace. No justice,
No peace!
I've been doing racial justice work for years, and when it was time for me to settle down, what they say, Chelsea, what is your issue, Chelsea? You have to pick an issue, Chelsea. What are you always yelling about, Chelsea? So I decided to start an organization called Marijuana Justice. I started this organization with Black organizers because there was time for us to take real issues all the way up to the Capitol building that will impact our life. We also know that marijuana justice starts with the land right now that we need to reclaim. And when for cannabis to be legal, when it comes time for cannabis to be a part of your regular day life, you need to understand when hemp was grown. You need to understand who was farming that land. You need to understand that it's indigenous people, it's black farmers, it's Afro-Indigenous people that have been tending to this land. And that's what justice is really about. So clap it up. It's time to connect these issues. When you think it's just about policy, it's just about fun, I'm here to tell you that there are ways to impact our people by reallocating the money, by defunding the police. Who's here to abolish the police? Yeah. See? It's time to have these conversations together and figure out what that looks like. Not 10, 20 years from now. No, no, no. We want to hear it now. We want to see it now. And it's time for the people that say they govern us, they say they lead us, to do it. Otherwise, we come together, we do it ourselves. But remember, when we come together, we have to start from where it began. We have to start with the peoples who stood here first on this land, and we have to include their voices. We have to talk about our struggles, and we have to collectively organize to dismantle this system that has been so harmful and hateful for all of us. Thank you. I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for understanding that this shit is trash. Thank you for showing up for Indigenous people. Vanessa, what is the account? What is this organization? Because you said it in passing. I think every single person on here needs to know about this organization.
The name of our organization is Richmond Indigenous Society. I do want to say we are not the ones who planned this. We are support to my brother who called for this, so thank you. We are a local organization here in Richmond to give every Indigenous person a place to be, because an Indigenous person without their tribe is lost, and we need each other, because we are we collective, not I-centric, like the European culture. We need each other, and we are here. If you're interested in supporting, we're on Facebook. We have our Venmo up. You can come and show us some love if you feel, but what we would rather to see happen right now is you find these young black leaders. You find people like Chelsea. You find the people who are doing that work to lift the black voice, and let's lift them up right now. Our time will come. We'll get it. We'll be all right.
I want to give it a quick second. Is Omari here? Omari Al-Qaddafi? Oh, you here? But is changing, someone that I'm really excited to know, again, outside of this, that works with the people, that as well as works sometimes with our politicians. And I just want to welcome everybody to Mr. Joseph Rogers.
Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Vanessa. Again, I want to echo the sentiments of my sister who was up here earlier, that this is Powhatan land. Long before John Smith walked and took a boat up a river, this was the capital of a confederacy. A confederacy of tribes, of indigenous people who had come together in unity and harmony with one another. That confederacy fell in many ways because of the oppression that was brought on by white supremacy and its ideals. We cannot fight white supremacy without recognizing, uplifting, and supporting one of its earliest victims on this continent. We can take down statues to the false Confederacy, but we must remember to rise up statues to the real Confederacy of this land. I will say it over and over and over again, no Confederacy but the Powhatan Confederacy. Indigenous folk to this land were among the first abolitionists, the first to give shelter to self-emancipated Africans. They're among the first to take us in, among the first to teach us the ways that we needed to know to survive. They're among the first who actually showed us love in a land with which we were not familiar. And it is long past time for us to give that love back to them.
That's right.
It's long past time to make sure that our fights are united and never divided. We will make sure that we don't leave them behind again. Because guess what, y'all? We did. With the writing of the 15th Amendment, the black man got the right to vote. With the coming of citizenship in the 14th Amendment, we left behind our indigenous folk. We let them write it in that all those except Indians not taxed would be considered citizens of these United States. They had to wait so much longer. We've already heard about it a little bit until the 1920s before they could get their own citizenship in the land that they were here on first. The 15th Amendment also said the black man got the right to vote, which means we left our sisters behind. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that we no longer leave people behind in this movement. We don't leave behind our indigenous brothers and sisters. We don't leave behind our black brothers and sisters. We don't leave behind any person of color. We don't leave behind our queer brothers and sisters, our trans brothers and sisters. We got to make sure that we uplift every voice and sing. We are at a rising moment, Richmond. We are at a moment where we can go through this together. And I do want to take a quick moment to talk about that statue. Not the man, but the statue. Because it's important to know this. This statue was put up by a proud Italian people at a time when they were also experiencing oppression. But the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, seeing that they were losing power and losing control, decided that they were going to allow the Catholic Irish to join the white circle. This is something that has been the truth of this country for a very long time. As the white minority realizes that it is losing power, it tries to co-opt groups that it thinks it can win over. And so it has been for years upon years upon years upon years, passed down through the generations. We cannot allow it to happen again. We cannot allow them to appease us and divide us and say, don't look at the people who are causing violence. They're not with you. Their violence is unjustified. Join with us and we'll give you what you want. That division is a false division. That division is one that they will try to use on us again for the 100th time. But will we fall for it? No! I said, will we fall for it? No! So I encourage you that as we take up this struggle to uplift all people, we remember that we will do this together. And we may not agree with each other's methods. Some people prefer electoral politics. Some people prefer direct action. Some people prefer being engaged in mutual aid and being in the streets. But what we need to recognize is that all the fights are unified, that all the tactics are one, and that anything that ends the oppression of white supremacy and uplifts the voices of the other is the path forward. So join with me as we continue this fight, because I'm going to be here, and I hope you'll be here too. Thank you very much.
Wants to say a few words?
Hey y'all, how you doing? Rest in power to everybody that has been subjected to police terrorism. We got to call it what it is, police terrorism. And let me get like a one-time fuck 12. Thank you. My name is Joe. I came here trying to just speak as me, but there's a lot of orgs out there and shit. So to justify my shit here, like I'm of mixed race, African and Irish ancestry, and I am was a longtime member of the Malcolm X grassroots movement in New York City. I am a current member of the anarchist Black Cross tendency, which supports political prisoners, prisoners of war, and I know that. Thank you. Like give it up for our people who are in the fucking cages, because they were actually effective. Because if you're effective, they're not going to make you an alderman. They're not going to make you a politician, city council member, mayor, whatever the fuck. They're going to kill you or put you in the fucking cage. And that's the way to know if you are effective or not, and it's sad. I don't want that to be the case. I want joy and love, but that is the nature of living under such a fucking fascist beast that this fucking country is. But whatever. I rep the anarchist Black Cross. I was a member of the IWW GDC in Seattle, and I worked for a year on Cooperation Jackson's land project. I am a farmer. I know about fucking land, and I know about pain in general. So here I just wanted to take 2 or 3 minutes. It's not about me. I don't give a fuck who I am. I would gladly not even give you my name, and I would cover my face, because the main thing I wanted to say to y'all is there's a lot of shit going on, and it is really upsetting. It's upsetting if you look at everything that's happened this week and the whole way that BLM 2.0, as I call it, the George Floyd insurrection, whatever the fuck you want to call what this wave is. If you see the way the police have brutalized us, if you see the way divisions have happened between people of different tactics, if you see the ways in which like 11 people across this country have been killed in these protests by like reactionary fascists or police, and I don't even know all their names, like while they're trying to fight for the names of those that have been hashtagged that we do know. All that to say, I wanted to bring up that Albert Einstein, white man, whatever, had some good things to say, did say that and I'm paraphrasing, the definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over again and expecting a different outcome. I have been involved in the movement, to the extent that I have for the majority of my adult life, and it breaks my heart to see the same shit happening over and over and over again. What I saw happen. Thank you, yeah, if you really feel it, fucking scream that shit. We need something different. We need something different. We need something different. Something radically motherfucking different. We need something different because right now, Antifa is terrorism. Those of us that may or may not identify with that tendency may advocate militant tactics that may include redecorating property, or may include may include readjusting the bonal structure of the faces of admitted fascists. It may involve a lot of things, but it doesn't involve killing fucking children. It doesn't involve rubber bullets. It doesn't involve tear gas. It doesn't involve putting human beings. It doesn't involve putting human beings in fucking cages. There are members of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense and the Black Liberation Army who they're in cages right now. Black Liberation Army was guerrilla warriors, but COINTELPRO under J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI, which started back in fucking the 20s to police Marcus Garvey, they didn't say that the Black Liberation Army, the guerrilla warriors, were the #1 threat to America. They said the woman-led Breakfast for Children program that the Black Panther Party started was the most dangerous threat to America. Think about that shit. Please think about that shit. Feeding our black children, telling them that they're human, that they deserve to live, that they deserve to be something. That is what is a threat to this fucking fascist nation that puts up statues of this fucking rapist colonizer. Read about what this motherfucker did. X-rated horror movie you could ever fucking see, and we got fucking statues to this monster.
Take it down!
Take it fucking down. And yo, in Germany, after the Nazis lost, they didn't wait 2 generations and put up statues of Hitler for us all to fucking look at. They didn't do like the Confederacy did and give back the property to the Nazis. Because the Confederates, they got their property back and handshake deal. Oh, I'm sorry you were misguided. Here's all your shit back. Hire the people that you enslaved and raped and killed to work your fucking land again as indentured servants. This shit is fucking sick. Politicians, though, have never helped us. And I'm sorry I got off on a tangent. I'm almost done. The one thing I wanted you to take away is, like, please, no disrespect to anybody, because we're all fighting how we do. But please, after MLK, all this, like everybody who's like, if we say voting and love enough, somehow George Floyd won't die. George Floyd fucking died anyway. We need something different. We need something different. We need something different. Like, starting in the fucking 50s with Robert F. Williams, who wrote Negroes with Guns and was the chapter president of the NAACP in Monroe, North Carolina, and pushed out the fucking Klan by legally arming black citizens to fucking fight back. Starting with him and like some other Frantz Fanon and other parts of the world, we had a movement going that was like, no, we deserve independent black homeland, control of our fucking land and curricula and everything in concert with the Indigenous sisters and brothers and non-binary folk. Like, we deserve what we deserve. We deserve independence, self-determination, autonomy. And now, how many years later? How many fucking years later we say, Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot, kneel before the police, pig. Shit has gotten worse. Shit has gotten worse, and politicians will not save us. I don't give a shit what group I'm with or what my name is. Each one of you is a leader, and everyone can have their own pet project of this shit they're trying to push through city council, or this economic hustle scheme, or my face on a coin, Mao's face on a coin, Lenin's face on a coin, Castro's face on a coin, and the rapist Thomas Jefferson and the fucking genocidal Andrew Jackson's face on a coin. Fuck these personalities, fuck these leaders, fuck politicians. We need something radically different. Every one of you is a leader. Stop looking for leadership, and in a decentralized way. In a decentralized way. Maybe not literally, maybe literally. Whatever gets the good, burn this motherfucker down! So my last comment, shout out to Lucy Parsons, an anarchist from the late 1800s of black and indigenous ancestry. Lucy Parsons was deemed more dangerous than 1,000 rioters by the government just because she spoke the fucking truth. Speak the fucking truth. And whether you got a swastika or a hammer and sickle, if your foot is on my fucking neck, fuck you, burn it down.
Martin!
Take it down!
I told you! Yes, cool. I'm glad you think so.
I got you. Yeah, no, I know. I wanted this, so I like this. Dirty Mackie.
I was like, see, what we're not about to do is fucking something.
No peace! No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!